Hi Flosstube, this is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher. I believe this is Flosstube number 20. If you're coming back, thank you. If you're new to my Flosstube, thank you. I really appreciate y'all even watching. I never thought I would have anybody following, except maybe my daughter who stitches. I'm very happy to say that I, have grown somewhat. I don't have the thousands that some people do, but I have a nice group of people, some very nice people who follow me and who comment. I really appreciate getting those comments. Today is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Yes, I am a Star Wars fan. I am also a Star Trek fan, so I like sci-fi. I've never stitched anything sci-fi, and I know that, let's see, that's going to be in my glasses. And I know that there are Star Wars patterns and Star Trek patterns out there. I personally have just never done one. But anyway, it has been a while since I made a floss tube. I got to the beginning of March and my cross stitch bug went and I did not really start stitch in the month of March. And then April got here and I have been doing other things. Last year, back during the summertime, back when COVID was being crazy and everything, we noticed some cracking in the wall. And then the cracking hit the ceiling. And then the cracking hit the tile floor and broke tiles. And that's when we realized it was not just a gentle settling, there was something more serious. So we had them come out and look, and yes, the back end of our house had sunk half an inch and had broken like right down the middle of the house. So we had to have them come in, shore up the house, and kind of put it back level so it'll stop, which they did, and that was back in October. But they said we couldn't do anything repair wise for 6 months because the house had to resettle and resituate again. So in January, no, sorry, not 6 months, 6 weeks. I don't know what I'm thinking here. 6 weeks. So it was not until January that we could do anything. So we started looking around and my husband started patching. He used to be in construction, so he knows what he's doing. So he went through and he fixed the cracks in the walls and the ceilings. The one near the kitchen was bad. I was like, wow. We had to have a new AC unit put in last year because it died. And I'm like, that was my big concern, was that crack was right underneath where the AC unit is in the attic. And I was like, I don't want the ceiling to give way and drop my new AC unit into the house. I didn't want the old one to fall through the ceiling and drop it into the house. So anyway, all the walls have been repaired in the ceiling, and then he got down and started to fix the floors because he did the tiling of the floors. As I said, he knows construction, so he did all of the our entire house is tiled. When you live in South Texas, or even in Texas in general, we have these trees called mountain cedars. And when they pollinate, and they start kind of in December and go through to the very first part of March, if you have any kind of allergies, mountain cedar has been known to hospitalize people. It is that heavy and that bad. I have never been quite that bad, but it has made me be very sick and can cause upper respiratory infections. I have been that bad. But I have to say, thank God, I have not been that bad lately. So anyway, we have all tile floors because the cedar gets into the carpet and lives. But then also I'm allergic to the grass and the other trees, and it's just crazy. So we have fixed a lot of our allergies by getting rid of our carpeting. So he fixed all the tiles. Well, now comes my job because I volunteered to help. Silly me. I'm having to paint everything that had to be repaired. And because we hadn't painted in a while, it's not that we could just go in and touch up. We're having to do a fresh coat on everything. Well, the break happened in the kitchen, in the hallway, and a little bit in the living room, which is all basically one long continuous area. So I couldn't just paint the hallway and stop. I couldn't just paint the kitchen and stop. No, I'm having to paint the hallway, the dining room, the kitchen, and the living room. And this wall has not been done yet, otherwise this would be a brighter white. But it's like, oh my God. So about once every other week, I spend 2 to 3 hours and I paint. And at this moment, I have painted the entire hallway and the first wall of the dining room. And we have this weird column. It's one of the main supports for the house, and we can't ever take it out. So I have this weird column I've been painting. It kills my shoulder. So once you finish, you have to paint the ceiling too. So once you're finished painting all that for 2 to 3 hours, your shoulder is hurting. When I was 21, 22, I used to paint friends' houses all the time. Spend 8 hours a day painting. Now 2 to 3 hours and my arm is killing me. My back hurts. Age. It is an age thing. So anyway, I have been doing that and I have not been stitching that much. But I did take time to go to a retreat in Salado, Texas. It was I was invited to join in. I was very excited. I knew that was a closed camp, and that one is very difficult to get into, and I was invited and I got to go. It was very much fun. I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to going to next year because it's a one-year camp, once a year camp. The other camp I like to go to is 3 times a year. I've been to the February one, and it's late February, early March, and then the next one's in July, and I'm scheduled to go to that one. The other news I have is 3 weeks ago. Yes, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I finally started working again. But it's a part-time position, and I'm very pleased with that because it gives me at least 2 days a week to stitch. Yay! Besides the weekends. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer when they offered it to me. I was like, oh yeah, if I can stay at home and stitch a couple of extra days plus work, even better, because now I can support my stitching habit. That was my big thing. So other than that, last weekend, May 1st and May 2nd, this past weekend, I think it was May, yes, because this is the 4th. So anyway, I'm a little off. I did get together, and for the first time since last March, we got to get together with all 3 of our children and our grandchildren, who some of them we had not seen in over a year. We met at my son's house because he has a small piece of property out in Central Texas, and it poured down rain. So the kids were stuck inside, and the parents were stuck inside with the kids. But we had a good time, and everybody enjoyed themselves. So I really was excited about that. Excuse me. As I said, I have not been stitching that much, but in March, I think it was March. Yes, it was in March, because I was finished with it before I went to camp, and camp was at the beginning of April. I did finish my drum, my Lady Liberty, and now it has cat hair on it because Chekhov likes to walk by it. He's been hiding all morning, and now that I have started this, he's come and he's sitting right there looking at me like I'm going to interrupt you sooner or later. But this is my drum. This is Lady Liberty. Oops, excuse me. I did do the top and the sides. I know some people were just doing the sides, and then they were putting a piece of fabric that kind of corresponded on the top, and then they were using it as a pin cushion. Somebody asked me what I was going to do with it, and I said, well, a drum is technically supposed to be a pin cushion, but I'm not sticking pins and all that work. So it's going to just be a decorative piece. I did stitch it all by hand, even this part. I know some people just ran it through the sewing machine. One thing I discovered, I did not use the correct size fabric because I didn't read the instructions before I started. I just saw fabric that I liked, went, ooh, I want that. Because this was 30 count Parisian Gray from Access Commodities. It was supposed to be 36 count fabric using one strand of floss, and I used 2. So I did have to buy extra floss. And then a lot of people asked me if I watched videos on how to do this. But the instructions on putting it together are printed on the pattern, and they were very easy to follow. And there was even a template for the bottom. It's for 36 count. So I had to sit there and figure out what size it would be for 30 count. So I cheated, but I was able to get it done. Now you're supposed to stuff it with sawdust. I did not. I just used fiberfill. And you're supposed to take all of the templates that you use out. I did on the top, so it's squishy. But I left the cardboard, it was a very thin piece of cardboard. You know, like the kind that you would get in a, well, I don't even know if they do it anymore. If you buy a nice dress shirt or something for a man and he's got that little thin cardboard stuff there, it's basically, it may be that thick, maybe a little thin, maybe a little thicker. So when I cut out my circle, it said to pull out all the stuff. But I decided not to do that because I wanted it to be able to sit flat. So I left my cardboard piece in here, my little template, and so it sits perfectly flat. I'm still been trying to get the fiber fill to be even, so she's not quite even on the top, but she is finished, and I'm very pleased with her. My first drum, it's like a child's, my first, easy bake oven or something. So this is my first drum, and she sits over there on my TV stand where I can look at her when I watch TV and stuff. So, excuse me, I don't know, my voice is clogging up here. I may have to go get something to drink. The rest of the stuff I have, as I said, I haven't really stitched. I do have a few things that I've worked on, and I have a few little purchases. I didn't have a haul, not like I used to do. Since they closed our cross-stitch store, I have to drive to Comfort, Texas, and I haven't gone to Comfort, Texas. And then here lately, it has been pouring down rain in Texas. We get these storms, sometimes in the spring, sometimes in the fall. One year we had them spring and fall. That was exciting. Everything floods. Everything floods very easily in Texas because we don't have any, the ground is so hard that the water just sits on top of it and it doesn't want to soak in. So it takes a while for it to soak. So until then, the rain just piles up on top and floods everything. And my backyard is super wet. We've had hail. 2 towns over, they've had tornadoes. They broke a record for Texas hail sizes in a place called Hondo, Texas, which I used to live in Hondo many years ago. So, I mean, it was some nasty storms. My husband gets a call because he's an emergency worker, and he's a friend with the gentleman who works with NOAA here in Texas. He got a call and said, hey, y'all got a storm coming. So my husband tells me we have to move 3 pickup trucks with 2 drivers to an abandoned car wash that's about 3 miles away while the storm is coming towards us, so we can get them under cover so they don't have hail damage. Oh my gosh. By the time we got finished getting all 3 trucks over there, because we have his and hers pickup trucks and he has his work truck, the wind was just crazy. And we got there maybe 15 minutes before the rain hit. And then, now we were lucky. Where we were sitting with our trucks, we were only having like little teeny pea-size hail, which will hurt you if you're in it, but usually won't do damage to your vehicle unless it just hits perfectly right or something. But while we're sitting there watching the hail come down and the rain, all of a sudden the rain starts to angle out like in almost a 90-degree angle with the ground. And this gust of wind, the remains of the tornado, hit us. And the back end of my truck's doing this. And I was sitting there thinking, oh God. It was a little scary. And we sat there and waited for, I guess, almost an hour. And then my husband said, okay, let's take them back. So then we had to do the whole round trip again to take them all back home. Oh my gosh, it was a long night. The cat was freaked out because he was at home alone. And I told my husband, I said, we should have brought Chekhov with us. And he just looked at me like he was not dragging a cat out in the rain. So Anyway, that was exciting, and that was all the excitement I want for right now. So anyway, let me get on with the few things that I actually have. So let me show you the stitching. As some of y'all know, if you've been watching, I'm working on the 2021 Modern Folk Embroidery Stitch Along. And I am behind because, as I said, I hit March and couldn't stitch. Now I have picked it up again, and I have been working on it. So let me see if I can get this a little easier to see here. I have been working on it. I have not done, I had January and February finished, so they were good. Oops. We'll just do it this way. This is starting March, the big empty hole, and it's a flower pot that's supposed to go there. And of course, April and May are out, so they'll be here and here. And I intend to get this caught up. This will be caught up before June gets, because that was my goal this year, to keep up to date on this so that it would actually be finished in December when the stitch along is finished. And as you can see, I have not done that. I am using, once again, the 30 count Parisian Gray. My brain shut down there on me. This is the 30 count Parisian Gray, and I'm using DMC 28 and 29. These are some of the new DMCs, and I like them because they were not the harsh 500 series or 550s, because they were just too purple. And this is a soft gray, and I thought that the lighter gray or lighter purple against that gray would stand out. And I picked purple because my husband's favorite color is purple, and I've never made a purple that's hard to say, a purple piece for him. So when I get this finished, this will be for him. It'll hang in our house, but technically it's for him. He always tells me, you make things for everybody else, but nothing for me. So this is for him. I do have another piece that I started 2 years ago. Yes, 2019, because it was before COVID hit. In 2019, he's always wanted a piece that had an Indian headdress, and I started that. But the feathers are a lot of white, and I hate stitching with white. And so I was going really good, and I hit those feathers and went and stopped. So I need to get that back out and start up again. The other thing I worked on, oops, it's stuck. Excuse me, is I tried not to tear my pattern. Too many needle minders. Okay. This is Beggar's Luck from Threadwork Primitives. There's a whole series of these, and I did buy them all. This came out this year. Yes, this is a 2021. The other ones came out in years prior, and I did not know that. And I finished 4th of July last year. So this I had intended to have done by March 17th for St. Patrick's Day, and because it does have the 17. The other ones are a Christmas one and a Halloween one, and there's a third one. I cannot think of what it is. I'm assuming that there may be, I'm hoping there'll be one more for New Year's. But I mean, it has to be a Valentine's Day. That's what it was, Valentine's Day. But it has to be a stationary holiday. You know, December 25th is Christmas. Halloween's October 31st, 4th of July, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day. And I was looking at it, and I was thinking the only other stationary holiday is New Year's, because like Memorial Day moves around. Now Memorial Day is actually May 31st, but because we have a Monday holiday for it, the date flip-flops for Memorial Day. But the physical Memorial Day is May 31st. So, which this year it's on May 31st. So, and of course Labor Day flips around also. So, I mean, I'm assuming that those won't really have, man, I made a mess here. Won't have pieces. Oops. I mangled my pattern. Okay, I have to fix that. Let me close this up. So that is Beggar's Luck. I am using the called for colors. Goodness, I didn't realize how bad this had gotten in the bag. So this is what I have done. I have a headless crow or raven. I don't know what they're considering that. And then these are the called for colors. And I thought it was interesting. The shamrocks are not green. They're the rusty red here. And I thought that was interesting that, you know, you would think that the shamrocks would be green, but they're not. And then this is the big cornucopia that I started here. And of course, the headless birdie. So I need to get back onto that and start working on that again. That one was one I took to the cross-stitch camp I went to. I worked on the modern folk embroidery for March. Oh my God. I would make 20 stitches and realize 5 of them are wrong. Take it out, fix it, continue on. I would do 15 stitches and realize at the beginning of the 15 stitches, the first 3 were wrong and have to take everything out and start over again. I did that for an entire day until I finally just said, you know what? I am not working on this anymore. So Beggar's Luck came out and it was worked on. Had no problems with Beggar's Luck. You would think that the bird would be difficult because you got to make sure you have the right amount of numbers and everything. The bird was going perfectly. The problem with Beggar's Luck is it is on, and I don't know what fabric this is. I can't tell you because this fabric was just in my stash and it had no little words on it or anything. It's a very loose weave. I'm assuming it's at least a 28. It's got to be a 28 at least, but it's a loose weave. My problem with this is I put the needle in and go to grab it and the needle falls back down. So then you got to hold it up and grab it, because if you don't, it falls back through. So I was taking twice as long to stitch on that one because the needle wouldn't stay in the hole. It was a fun day. Then, let's see. The other thing that I worked on, which this one you would think would just be a pain because it's on 37 count and I'm stitching it 1/2. This is, let's see, I can show you this way. Newcastle Bouquet by Teresa Kogut. And this is through her CW Samplers line. And for the camp that I was working on this on, because I only had like a little bit of right here done. So I did all of this and I started going up and I finished the W and the X. I think I had like half a leg on the W. So I finished the W, the X. But right here is the big basket. Right there is the basket after the, there you go. The W and the X are here. I'm going to start this leaf so I can start working on the basket and kind of make it grow like this. I don't do all the border first because I'm always afraid that I'll get off on the border. So if it kind of grows, then I know that everything going this way should match over here. If it doesn't, then I can fudge. But I don't want to have to start picking out down here. So that is the Newcastle Bouquet, and this is 37 count squash blossom. And as I said, I should show you the floss, but where is it? There we go. I obviously am not put together today. And got more magnets stuck to it. So I am using the called for colors. These are the over dyes. I did buy, originally I kitted it up at all DMC because I couldn't find the over dyes. And then I went to the Tinsmith's wife in Comfort, Texas, and she had all the over dyes. So I bought it. So I haven't technically color kitted up twice. So I'll just save those for something else. But yes, I think those colors on that soft yellow are very pretty. And it's coming along very nicely. Once again, I wasn't in the mood to stitch, so it hasn't been worked on. And I just need to get my, as they used to say, get your rearing gear. I need to do that. Let's see. I think, oh, no, that's not all my stitching. My son, for Christmas last year, my birthday / Christmas, because they're in the month of December, he gave me an Articy pattern. have in this notebook. So I have never done a full coverage before, and this intimidates me to no end, but I am going to give it a good try. So I went and I got a book and the pattern page covers, so keep everything nice and neat, because heaven forbid I mess this up. And then while I was at, and he also gave me the fabric and all the floss, and I jokingly said, "What, no needle?" And he laughed at me. He also gave me needle minders. And so I did not have a frame that I could work on this. So while I was at camp, the store owner from Needleworks in Copper's Cove, Texas was there, and she had brought items down for us if we needed, you know, frames, hoops, floss, new kits, new designs, all kinds of odds and ends. I mean, it was just packed. So I bought a frame from her. This is a roller frame. Let's see if I can show you. Roller frame. And I put it on this, and I have started it. So this is my first full coverage. It's like my first drum. So it's like, ooh, a whole bunch of firsts this year. So this is what I have started. Not a lot. Basically, I did the first box, which was not 10 by 10 because the pattern is not even. And so I think the first box was 6 by 10. So that is a 6 by 10 in there. And then I branched out into the little boxes around it. But technically I had finished the first box. So I'm very pleased with myself. And I don't know how often I'm going to work on that, because, as I said, it just intimidates me to no end. And I would, goodness, what did I do with that? I was just going to say, I'd show you the floss. Oh, there it is. I knew I had the floss. I did buy some of those tags, the luggage tags, to hold my floss for this one, because I wanted to be able to move as I needed it to. But there's all the colors. And as you notice, there's very little colors beyond purples and blues. This is the dragon's tongue and flame. And that's pretty much it. Everything is in those blues and the grays and stuff. And the ones that needed 2 colors, he gave me the 2 colors. He went through and he checked it, and he bought everything that was required. I mean, he did a good job. But as I said, when I opened it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's full coverage. Just because I don't do full coverage. But I guess I am now. So anyway, this is all the floss. There are 80 something flosses. I forget how many there are. But I did get them all carted up and everything. And it's all DMC, of course. So I am ready to go on that. I just need to work. I need to be more consistent and say, like, every Monday evening I'm going to work on full coverage. Every Tuesday evening I'm going to work on a Christmas stocking, because I need to work on my grandchildren's Christmas stockings. I need to start making those kind of schedules. The problem is when I'm working on something, I want it to be next to me. And I'm in a very tight location because we have a very small house, and I can't do that. So everything goes into a middle bedroom, and then my thought is, well, no, I got to get up, I got to go get the stuff, I got to bring it down, sit back. So a lot of it is just laziness, because it's like, it's just easier to pick up the remote control and watch TV and work on what's ever next to me than to get up and go do all that. I need to break myself of that habit. And I need to go get myself something to drink, because I feel like I'm going to choke again. Excuse me just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I just kept wanting to clear my throat, and I know that's not a good thing to do. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, full coverage. On to other odds and ends. One of the things that I was happy to receive, this was not a purchase. I think I had said before, my daughter designed a pattern. She is an artist. She has 2.5 that she's done. I have both, but they're confetti stitching because of the way their designs are. My son gives me full coverage, my daughter gives me confetti, and I'm like, do y'all not pay attention to what I stitch? But obviously not. But anyway, this is the color copy of the pattern. It's called the Dragon Bower. This is the original one she gave me. This is over 30 pages long, and I was like, it is huge. Most people don't want to do something quite so huge. So anyway, she reconfigured it and redid it, and this time, she gave me it in a black and white copy, but she's redone it. Now it's 6 pages long, so it's not as massive. So this is much more doable, and I intend to start this. I do have a big piece of fabric. Originally I had a full yard, and I don't think I was going to have but like an inch around for border on the original one. That's why I was like, this is huge. I don't think you realize how big it was. So she's redone it. It's now 6 pages long. And so now I have a piece of fabric I can work on it with, and I need to start it because I do want to do it. I would like to be her, what do you call it? Model stitcher. Just, I need to start on it. But once again, the dragon's body is like 18 browns and it's like, oh, confetti stitching. I thought about buying some over dyes and doing it that way, but I'm not sure since we've never done one for her. I don't know how that would look, so we're gonna have to wait and see on that. Now, at the last retreat I went to, the last camp, they have, of course, everybody has the table where they have free stuff that they give away from people said, okay, I've already done this pattern, I'm not doing it again. Does anybody else want this? And we just pass them off. You're not allowed to sell. It's just, I'm getting rid of this. Do you want it? So I picked up a few things. I did pick up 2 stamped pieces that I gave to my aunt because she actually does stamped embroidery. I learned needlework on stamped embroidery when I was young, but I never liked it because I could never get depending on what color it was, the blue or the red stamped part, I could never get it completely covered right. I was either making my stitch too big, so the next stitch didn't fit next to it, or it just didn't look right. And my mother-in-law, my mother, and my aunt, my grandmother, they all could do that stuff, and it looked like there had never been any stamping on the piece at all. Mine, I never could get it right. I satin stitch. When I was little, we all did pillowcases. You just satin stitch your initial on it. Forget it. I did it. It looks bad, but I did it. I think I still have it someplace. But yeah. My embroidery skills, I was never going to make a living as an embroiderer. We'll just put it that way. My sister can embroider beautifully. It's so funny. My sister can embroider beautifully. She hates cross stitch. I love cross stitch. I can't embroider well. I crochet. My sister hates crocheting. She knits. I hate knitting. It just worked out that way. But anyway, I did pick up a couple little things besides the 2 pieces for my aunt. This one was a raffle that I won, and it is A Time to Sew by Erica Michaels. Some little strawberries. I have made a strawberry once before, but it was only this big because it was a Christmas ornament from Just Cross Stitch about 5 or 6 years ago. So I am looking through this, and it comes with 2 patterns, and I said, oh, okay, I didn't realize that they were 2 different strawberries in here. I thought it was just undone on different size fabric to show you the size difference. It's not. The second strawberry, because this is a kit, is undone on silk gauze. I have never worked with silk gauze, and I'm like, ooh. I have seen silk gauze done, and I thought the person doing it was crazy, but now I get to look like I'm going to be crazy because now I'm challenged, and now I want to try and do it. Here is a better picture of some of the strawberries. But this was a kit, and this is what I won on the raffle. And it came completely, you know, everything that you need. Fabric, felt. This one came with a needle. I should tell my son, see, this one came with a needle. And it actually came with another sleeve in it, but it's that sleeve that's got the glue that goes over. Oh, it's a pain. So I need to find, I have to make a bag. I probably have a bag already that I can put that in so not to lose any of the pieces. This is the piece I picked up off the free table. And it is a Mill Hill kit called Moonlight Madness. And it's got the fabric and the floss and of course the beads. Now when I picked this up and looked at it, it had the pattern. I can't find the pattern now. So now I have this beautiful owl, which I just love that owl, and I can't find the pattern. And I'm like, ah! So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I swore they were all together. I mean, the most I had done was opened it up to look to make sure everything was in here. It was. I don't know where the pattern went to. So I picked that up. So I don't know what happened. So I'm going to have to figure that out. And I want to say there was something else I picked up, but I can't remember and I can't find it. So obviously it wasn't that important to me. The other thing I got from camp, and I was so pleased, I was so excited when I got this, is to welcome me. I got this really cool stitching bag, and it says Stitcher's Hideaway with the big embroidery hoop with the cross stitch heart on it. And this is a big bag. It holds a lot of stuff because I know. I felt it. Oh, I have the window over here opening, so and we've got a lot of clouds, so it may flicker with the light there just a little bit. So that bag was awesome. And Chekhov has come over here and sat on my thing, so I'm going to show you something else instead. As I said, the store owner from Needleworks in Copper's Cove was there, and she had displays of odds and ends. And one of the things she had that I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there. She had stuff from Sajau, and I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. So if you have ever looked at the antique alphabets and stuff, most of them were done by Sajau. Most of them come from the 1800s, and they did have a store there in Paris. I think it's in Paris. But because of COVID, they have closed their doors. But they are still doing what do you call it? Online. Excuse me, my brain just didn't work. So here is some of the things I bought from Sajau. These were for thread keeps. And they have different shapes and different pictures. And I just have always loved looking at their website. And you can look at it in English. So that is them. And I put it on my ring here, this one, so I know where the first number is at. So I know where if I need to find a certain color, I know if I need to start this end or this end. Because otherwise the colors just keep circling and you're like, I can't find it. So I did put them on there. And that's what I'm going to do with these, is put them on rings, because I'm not going to use these for thread keeps. You can't see the face. You can't see her face if you put thread on it. So I bought those. The other thing that they have, and I wish she had had 2 pieces of this, is French toile. I love French toile. It's awesome. And it's a fat 1/8, I think. No, it says it's a fat 1/4. Anyway, she only had 1 piece of this color. She did have some other pieces, but none of them, they were all going to clash. And some of them had multiple colors. I think she had one that was red. So, yes, I was excited to get this. I don't know. I'm thinking if I fold it like that, I can make a small project bag. Maybe something that'll fit a Mill Hill kit, if I can find the pattern. But I love French toile. My front bedroom is painted all blue to look like a Wedgwood box, because I love the blue and white look. It's just, it's, to me, it's like crisp and clean, and it's just awesome. And you have to move. Get off. Move. Oops, excuse me. Get off. Get off. He is a heavy cat, and when he has decided he is not leaving, he is not leaving, and you're not going to make him go. And I need to flip this over before I show it to you, so you don't see the pattern. I don't want it to be on anybody's copyright infringement list. Flip that over. I don't know if I showed this on my last floss tube. I don't think I did. This is a pattern stand. It's from Knitter's Pride, because they said originally they were selling them to knitters. Cross stitchers are using them too, though, because they're usually padded. I have a black one and I have this one. The black one was gifted to me several years ago. This one, I just fell in love with the pattern, and it's bigger. The other one I have smaller, so when you put an 8.5 by 11 page pattern on it, it hangs over. This one is big enough that when you put the pattern on it, it definitely doesn't have it. And then this strap snaps to the other side, so it tenses and it stands up on the table, and you have your pattern right here, and you can work. It has a little pouch, and you can keep little doodads in it. I don't think I have anything in this. No, I don't have anything. What I was doing was, this is Beggar's Luck. Doesn't that look lovely? It got crumpled. That's when the magnets were all stuck together. Beggar's Luck is one page, but when I was working on another pattern, when I was working on Newcastle Bouquet, I had the page I was working on here, and then I stood the rest of the pattern up in here, so I knew where the pattern was, so I could put it back together when I changed out patterns on my stand. And I do love this thing. I have the Light. Let me see. Let me pull it this way. It's probably going to mess up my camera here. This is my Light that I have, and it has this stand, or this arm, that holds things. There's my tablet. But this arm will hold that. And so I can have my pattern on this, my lights above it. I'm set, I'm ready to go. So it's an awesome setup. And because as I said, I have very limited space, that works out good for me. You move that light back over there, so it's not. I had it on because we're still having some storms here in Texas, and when I first started, it was very gray. The sun has come out, but I mean, I can see all kinds of gray clouds over there, so I don't know if the storm's coming back or not. It's been exciting. We've not had this much rain in a while. We were about to go on to, we have different stages of our water level, and we were on stage 2, which means you can only water your yards on certain days. You're not supposed to do make sure you wash your laundry as a full load. I mean, they get really, really persnickety about it. The last thing I have, or second to last thing I have to show you. Let me show you the other thing. It's small. As I said, I did buy little luggage tags. This is from Amazon. They are called ID tag keepers, and it says there's 20 pieces in here, and I've used 2. So those are very helpful, especially when I had the big ring. I couldn't find the big key ring like I used to use, and everybody's I've been seeing has been using this, and you can make it the size that you need. And I thought that was much better than having to buy multiple sizes of key ring. So that has come in handy. I got that from Amazon. And I didn't want to have to, I don't have Amazon Prime. So I didn't want to pay a lot on shipping and everything, because it was like triple the price. So what I did was I waited till my husband wanted something, and then I ordered them there. So that was the part that threw it just a little bit over, so we didn't have to pay all that extra shipping and handling. The other thing I did was, because I was making the floss tags for my full coverage dragon fight or something like that. I forget what is that called. I don't even remember what it's called. Dragon attack. For a dragon attack, I did make a whole bunch of extra floss tags so that I can be ready to go if I decide to do another project, which I'm pretty sure I will. Then this weekend, my daughter surprised me. She kind of told me she was doing this, but I wasn't sure she was. But she went to the quilt store in the Bryan College Station area, and because we are Texans, not UT Texans or A&M Texans, but just Texans in general, she found me Longhorn standing in bluebonnets. And I think I showed y'all the project bag I made that had the Longhorns and there were just rows of Longhorns. Those did sell. In fact, I sold both of those and then decided to keep the Blackbird Design one because I thought, why am I selling one that I can't that's no longer going to exist? I should just keep that one. So I did. So anyway, then she bought me the corresponding fabric, and it has cows and boots and bluebonnets and teacups, and I was laughing at the mockingbirds, and I was laughing at it because in the bucket that's got the let's see, where is it? That bucket there, it says made in Texas, and I told Ariel, I said, you can't have this fabric. And she goes, why can't I have that fabric? I said, it's because it's made in Texas and you were born in Missouri. Only my son is a Texan. We were in the military. So my daughter Ariel is from Missouri and my daughter Bronwyn was born in Massachusetts. So we call my son Tex on occasion because he's the only Texas born child. And then I think I showed you some other fabric she gave me. It's Dia de los Muertos fabric. Well, she found some more. And it's more of the Mermaids people. So now I have the cowboys in the saloons and I have mer people. And I have to decide what I want to do with this because this is a lot of fabric. I mean, she bought me a yard. I don't need a yard to make a project bag. And I'm like, do I want to make a project bag or do I want to do something else? The other mer people are on a cream background. This one is on the navy background. I may see if I can make a small project bag using the two together, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, she brought me this. And then she brought me a pair of shoes for Mother's Day because she and I have the same size foot, but mine's a little wider than hers. And she had bought some shoes that they were just a little too wide, so she brought it to me, and we were laughing because when she gave them to me, this weekend, and my daughter-in-law said something about, she gives you shoes? I said, yes, we wear the same size shoes. My youngest daughter has got like, her shoe size is like three up from us, so we do not share shoes with her. And we were laughing about that, the fact that Ariel and I can wear the same size shoe. And it has come in handy on occasion. So, but I have to admit, once Bronwyn got to a certain age, I never had to worry about her borrowing my clothes because she's taller than I am. She is got bigger feet than I do. So, oops, sorry about the zipper. So, I mean, I am 5'8" and she's closer to 5'10". And then, but we do have tall people in our family on my mom's side. My older daughter Ariel is 5'2", even though she swears she's 5'3". I still say she's 5'2". So we have this stir-stacked look, and it's just funny. We were laughing the other day. My grandson, my oldest grandson, he has not jumped up. He's not had his he's probably about to hit a growth spurt. And we were laughing about how the fact that Ariel, who is the shortest in the family, at one point in her young life, she was taller than both her brother and sister, and her brother's older than her. But my son did that. He stayed short for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden he hit this growth spurt, and he's like 5'10". And our grandson, he's on the small side, And we're like, oh, in the next year or so, he's going to go and grow up. And we were laughing the fact that his sister better live it up, because he's probably going to surpass her in the next year or so, because he's younger than her, but that's going to change probably drastically. But I think I have meandered quite a bit. I've been trying to think if there was anything else I needed to say regarding stitching. I have not stitched a lot, but when I did, I enjoyed it. And I think somebody said the other day is, don't stitch what you don't enjoy. And I agree with that. I mean, people come out and say, oh, look at this pattern, don't you love it? And I'm like, well, it's nice, but I don't think I would, it's just not me. And they're like, how can you not love this pattern? I said, well, it's not that I don't love the pattern. It's not something in my style. It's not something I would want to stitch. And don't stitch things that aren't going to make you happy to stitch them. Don't stitch things that when you're finished with it, you're not going to be pride of place for the moments that it's completely finished. I mean, one of the things that when I saw this, and I have to give credit where credit's due. I saw Nisi Lynn do hers. And if you haven't watched Nisi Lynn videos, you need to go watch her. She did this part here. My family is very military. And when I saw that with the flag, and I'm not big into alphabets, but when I saw the flag and the stars and the bunting, and the lady with her flag as she's charging forward to go stitch because she's got a needle in the other hand, to me, that was something that just said, you must stitch this. And I did. But I have seen other drums, and I've looked at them and went, I don't want a drum like that. I see the ones that are houses all the way around with a flag across the top. Those are very nice. I don't want to do those. Then there's the other ones right now that they're doing with the alphabet, with little odds and ends throughout it. I don't want to do those. So pick the one that you like to, pick the one that's going to call to you, that speaks to you. Don't just stitch because somebody says you have to have this. One of the things that makes me a little nuts is people, oh, you got to buy all the Blackbirds. This is Blackbird, Blackbird Design. But I don't necessarily care for all the Blackbirds. And I know that's probably sacrosanct and people are having heart attacks and grasping their chest. But I am not necessarily a primitive stitcher. I have some primitives that I've done that I liked. But I don't buy all the prims. It's just not me. This is Death by Cross Stitch. I love Death by Cross Stitch. I love Long Dog Sampler. But I don't buy all the long dogs because not all of them speak to me. Which I feel bad because I was doing so well. I was stitching on Pandemic every Sunday and it was moving along. March hit and I haven't touched Pandemic since I think the first Sunday in March, because I was stitching that one every Sunday because I belonged to a Zoom group on Facebook and we were stitching Pandemic every Sunday. And I just got out, and I not got out of the group, but I just got out of stitching. Other things came up, and we were going and doing things, and it just, oh well. But anyway, stitch what you like, stitch what you love. Design your own. If you can't find something you like, stitch something your own. I mean, my daughter, she wanted a dragon and drew her own, but she's an artist. If you had asked me to design my own dragon, I would have died laughing on the floor. Yeah, right. I remember, all three of my children are artists. I remember years ago, somebody gave my youngest daughter a ball of clay. I would have made a pinch pot ashtray or something when I was her age. I mean, that would have been the limit of my clay, whatever you want to call it. She disappeared into her room. Was maybe there 2 hours. Came out. This is, what do you think? She is holding a miniature dragon in her hand. It looked like something out of somebody's painting. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she gave it away. She didn't give it to her mother. She gave it away. I was so mad at her. And, but yeah, I mean, I could not have done that. I mean, it's just weird. My children, as I said, are all artists. My son is into leather work now. He's doing some beautiful work. He made it armor. I mean, it's like, really, who can do that nowadays? He made armor. My daughter Ariel is an art teacher. She's a fantastic artist. She was instrumental in doing the marigolds for El Paso, and then she did this year poppies for the military, for the American Legion where she lives. Bronwyn, it was so funny. You give Ariel a piece of paper this big and she would fill it. You give my son something that big, it may not be that big, but it was big. Bronwyn, you could give a big piece of paper and her artwork was this big, but her artwork is detailed to the nth degree. We used to laugh, you know, just so I quit buying her the big pieces of paper, just gave her smaller things to draw on because I knew she wasn't going to do big. But anyway, it's, you know, they know my Ariel stitches, but the other two don't. But they all love art. They all appreciate it. My son knows how much work goes into cross stitch, so he has claimed dibs on anything his sisters don't want. We'll see how that goes. So at least when I know that when I'm gone, my artwork, my cross stitch is going to be appreciated by someone who understands how much work I put into it, and is going to love it as much as I do. On that note, I hope someone out there loves your cross stitch as much as you do. I want you to have a great day. I want you to enjoy your stitching. I want you to relax and stitch, and may no frogs visit you. On that note, once again, this is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher, saying goodbye.